Irreducible complexity. Is it really scientific? I say no, and I'm going to attempt to explain why I think it's not scientific at all. First of all, let's explain what irreducible complexity actually means. Otherwise, for the people who don't know what it is. As the word says, it's about organisms or parts of organisms like proteins, groups of proteins that are so-called irreducibly complex. They are so complex that if you take a part away, the organism, the part, the whatever, doesn't function anymore at all. And Michael Behe, the inventor of irreducible complexity, has tried to, explain things as irreducible complex since a while now. This started with the eye. The eye was irreducibly complex, and because it was so complicated, if you remove any part of the eye wouldn't work anymore, and thus the eye couldn't have evolved through natural means. Thus it had to have been a creator. Scientists actually looked into this and found various organisms from small to large that had varying degrees of light sensory, and actually there's like a path going from the first sensors, which would be around skin. Really, skin is sensitive to light, and you evolve that a bit, you get skin that's directly sensitive to light. So not on the long run, but organisms could figure out, hey, there's light hitting me. And then you can build like crevices in the skin that have sensors to light, and then you have this whole, light is coming from a direction. Wow, how odd. And this line goes on, and they have found organisms with varying degrees of this. The line goes on and on and on and on, increasing in, I'd say complexity, but that's actually a bad word. It's just increasing in how specific the light is, how specific the sensory is. And it increases until you pretty much come up with the eye as we know it right here. And that by itself proved that the eye was not irreducibly complex. If you can follow all these lines until you have a complete eye, then that means it could have easily been evolved. Now, it's not Michael Behe that figured that out. It was real scientists that actually figured that out. And that's actually the same thing with the bacterial flagellum. Michael Behe simply invokes an intelligent designer. He invokes irreducible complexity, saying this flagellum is so complex it could not have evolved through evolution. And then that's it. He doesn't do research. He doesn't say, well, it might have gone through evolution. Let me look at all the different proteins. Let me look at organisms that might carry those proteins in different kinds of orders, combinations, something a real scientist would do. You don't pull conclusions until research is done. Michael Behe is not doing this. He just invokes an intelligent designer, just like that. And right now, scientists are working on figuring out the flagellum, and as far as I know, last time I heard about it, like a few weeks ago, they had like around 24 parts, like proteins of the flagellum already figured out, and found them in other organisms in varying degrees of combinations, So I have no doubt that they'll find the rest, and in the end explain that the flagellum came into being with by combinations of these and these proteins, and then in this order, this possible order. That's what real scientists do. They figure things out until they pretty much have the whole picture complete. Michael Behe doesn't do that. And that's the whole problem with, well, the Discovery Institute. If you look at peer-reviewed articles and peer-reviewed journals and things like that, the only journals you will find, or articles, are those are the journals and articles that have a negative impact on evolution, but not a positive impact on intelligent design. There is no positive information on intelligent design. The only things you hear is evolution is wrong, and that's why intelligent design is right. Which, of course, is ludicrous, because there's, in that perspective, you're saying, well, it's not an apple tree, so it has to be a pear tree. But no, there's all kinds of trees available, you know, and it doesn't have to be a pear tree if it's not apples. Michael Behe doesn't do the science, and that's pretty much my point. If he would actually look at the proteins, if he would actually figure out where those proteins might have evolved, and in the end, after a large amount of research, figures that, yeah, okay, there's really no sense in this. There's really no way this could have evolved, because there's no organisms that have the proteins, that have the combinations. There is no way the flagellum could have evolved naturally. Then he would have a strong basis. But he doesn't do that, because he probably knows that if he does the actual research, he'll figure out that, well, the flagellum is actually just an evolved part of an organism. That's about it. Questions? Oh, please ask. Bye bye.